With all due respect.
All right, recording in progress. With all due respect, 21, right? 21. If you're watching these in orders, which I almost promise none of you are, none of you, I don't watch them in
Yeah.
order. I'm going to try. I haven't watched all the episodes, but I have gone back and watched some of them, like when I walk.
Mhm.
Episode 20 was amazing
Yes.
with Allison Farnbach,
Mhm.
also known as Fahrenbach, if you're me. Allison Fahrenbach. On women's health, I tell you, I have women that I'm friends with, women that I coach right now, women I just know who would be interested in it, who have hit me up and have been like, I've watched that 3 times, and the third time I'm
Oh
taking
my God.
notes.
Like
Are you
every
kidding me?
day this
Yeah,
week. I've been at the
yeah.
studio every day this week. I've had at least 3 women at the end of each class be like, I listened to your podcast. I'm like, it's so good.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
so good for that's such a hard place for women because they say, I don't lose it like I used to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't sleep
Oh
like I
yeah.
used to.
Yep.
Right. What's going on with me? And I don't know any, I'm greatly uneducated on those subjects.
As far as menopausal
Yeah,
women.
menopause, perimenopause, premenopausal.
Yeah.
I admit that is not my wheelhouse.
You never had to go through it.
Yeah,
So
I don't know
it's
what it
part
feels
of
like to have a hot flash,
it
right?
feels the same as getting in a stinky car with jujitsu gear.
Yeah, yeah. So you
It
don't
feels the
know
same.
that's miserable, right? I do know. So in the work office I'm in, we had a conversation with some women in there. Me and the head football coach. I could keep my house at 76 degrees and be fine. I'm not kidding. I could sleep with a blanket. I could be 74, 76 degrees. And the football coach is the same way. He's like, yeah, 74, 76. We're all in our 40s, right? And the women in the office are like 66, 67. I'm like,
Yep.
66, 67. I'm sleeping with socks and a hoodie.
Yep.
I
Yep.
have my pit bull rolling next to me. I'm holding her. We're quivering and shaking together
Yep.
in the bed.
But that's the point.
Oh, and I can't. And I do see a struggle in my home coming soon, sooner than later. Of there's going to be a fight for the thermostat.
Yeah, because 74 to 76 degrees is insane.
I I I have a little fan going, 74 to 76. I'll feel nice and cool. Have a shirt on, be under a blanket.
Our house is freezing at all
Is
times.
that
Yeah.
is that
Like,
Austin?
yes, because
What's
yes.
he wanted it?
Well, I think our thermostat's on like between 69 and 70, but our house just holds cold air. So it really feels like 62. Like my hands are frigid all the time,
Wow.
but I go to bed amazing
And
because
does
I'm
he like it
cold.
cold? Does he like it cold?
Yes. Yeah.
See, you know, they say sleep in a cool room.
Yeah.
And this is that like, you know how we've always said things that get measured get managed. And I've
Mhm.
always said like I kind of sleep a little bit better with like a little sweat. And that can't be true, right? Like science says it's not true. We don't sleep better that way.
Yeah.
But I feel better that way. Matthew, I think it's Matthew Walker, the sleep guy that's been around social, says the ideal room for sleep is 65 degrees.
I believe it.
Y'all, 65 degrees. I am hoodie, pants, snowmobile suit,
Same. Oh, no, this is
hands cut. My hands will be covered. I'll have socks on. I have pit bulls at my feet, keeping me warm, and I will quiver and shake like I'm sleeping in the snow.
No, I mean, it is funny. Like
And you
Austin
know
goes
that
to bed and he's like hot and he just has boxers on. And I'm like hoodie, pants, sometimes some socks, double blanket. And I'm
being
like,
being cold makes
this.
me angry. Being cold makes me angry.
Being
Like
hot makes me angry.
me and you, we couldn't do it in the house, bro. Me and you, strong personalities. Nope. It would be, I would duct tape that thermostat. I would put a locked key over top of it. It would
I
be
would chop
war.
your
It
fingers
would be
off.
war. You would remove the room. You would remove the wall from the room.
I'd
Yeah.
literally live outside.
Yes. Well, that's not even what we're talking about, but it is a little bit. We're talking. Sleep will be in this subject. So this subject that we're covering today is starting. If you've not done
Mhm.
shit for your health,
Nothing.
If you're sitting there and you're listening to this and be like, I got to do something, where do I even start? I'm shocked at the number of people that are there. Most people that are easy to work with already have like they eat,
Something.
they do some sort of exercise. They're a little bit conscious what they put in their mouth. They know sleep's
Hmm.
important, but they still don't do anything. They kind of want to fine tune some things. And we're going in there giving them strategies to fine tune
Yeah.
food, nutrition, sleep. Um, they start getting results faster because it's always been a part of their life. They just need to know they ramp it up. There are a lot of people though, it's like, I've never done any bit of exercise.
Hmm.
I've never really cared about what I eat. If I like it, I eat it. If I'm hungry, I eat. If I'm not, I don't. Didn't grow up in a family like that, didn't have kids like that. But now I'm overweight. I went to the doctor and they're like, wow, I got to start doing something. Right.
Hmm.
Hammering a bang. That's old. That's a throwback right there.
I couldn't find my flavor of rain.
What kind was it? Flavor is it?
Wild watermelon.
Wow. 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 Um,
Crazy.
yeah. Um, So if you're that person, we had a little conversation before this, and we identified three main movers, right? Some sort of exercise, some sort of nutritional habit, and sleep, right?
Yeah.
And and I'll speak to you as if I'm like a client of yours, and I'm coming to you and I'm like, Gray, I've done nothing. I don't even know where to start. But I went to the doctor and they're like, wow, my blood sugar is a little high. I got, blood pressure. I've never had any bad blood work. I got some things going on. I really got to do something. They told me to lose 15 pounds. He handed me a sheet on the
Hmm.
Mediterranean diet. That's it, because that's all the doctor knows. Is handing you a sheet because they don't get it. And what do I do, Greg? Help me. Where do I start? I got to do something.
Yeah. Yeah. My honest opinion, and I was saying this before we started recording this morning, is I think it's easiest to start some kind of movement routine because movement routine doesn't take a lot of thought. When you're totally transforming your sleep and your nutrition, it takes a lot of thought. It takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of sacrifice. Whereas a movement routine can look like anything. It can look like a 10-minute walk every day. It can look like twice in the gym, going for 30 minutes. I think that's a lot easier to implement at first than a nutrition and sleep fix. Do I love to do it all together? Absolutely. But sometimes it's easier to tack on one thing at a time versus three, right? Or like really a lot
Yeah.
more than three. So I always try to get somebody. I mean, we will work on nutrition and exercise at the same time. And I'm fortunate that a lot of people I work with already have some kind of movement routine. Um, but I do try to get clients in a mindset to move in some way every day, whatever that looks like for them. And, we talk pretty much on every podcast, but we definitely talked about it with Allison this last week, is meeting the client where they are. So what does
Yes.
that look like?
Yes. Yeah.
Is it walking every day? Is it weightlifting? Is it classes that you're going to? Do
Mhm.
you enjoy going to a studio? Whatever, whatever that looks like. And I find that when somebody has, and this is my personal story too, when somebody has the foundation of exercise, they then think to themselves, oh, well, now I don't really want to go against all my hard work and kind of like contradict it with bad food.
Mm,
I probably need to start looking at what I'm eating. A lot of clients will come to me too. They're like, oh, I've been exercising for a long time. I've just never really thought about what I eat.
mm.
That's the next step for me. And then I think sleep falls into place underneath that because when you start exercising and eating well, you start feeling good. So then you're like, how can I feel better?
Mm.
Sleeping well.
So that's kind of like that atomic habits, James Clear theory of stacking habits.
Mhm. Yeah.
One habit leads to another habit leads to another habit, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's something intrinsic about exercise that like I don't want to go for a good 40-minute walk, sweat, go for a bike
Be
ride, sweat,
hot.
do a
Yeah.
class, sweat, and then come home and be like, man, that McDonald's cheeseburger sounds good right
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. I
now.
just
Right.
think it sets people up in a mindset to be successful because exercise is such like a positive step forward that kind of eating like shit after is like, now I'm going to negate all the hard work that I just did at the gym or on my walk or whatever. Is that necessarily the healthiest mindset? Maybe, you know?
No, yeah, but it's improvement.
Yeah,
It's something better.
exactly.
All right, so I come to you and I say, hey, okay, walking fine, but I'm actually committed to, I don't mind going to some kind of place to work out, right?
Perfect.
Most people aren't going to be motivated to walk into a Globo gym
Yeah.
and start a lifting program right off the rip,
Well, especially if they don't
right?
know what they're doing.
Yeah,
If they've never exercised before, that's really hard. So I really am a big pusher of some kind of class.
I am too.
Go
Find a friend.
somewhere.
Find a friend that
Mhm.
goes somewhere already and go with them,
Yep. Yep.
right?
Because community is huge. And if you're somebody that has grown up in a household or you're married into a household that has never valued their health, you're not going to find community in your house. So you've got to go elsewhere to find community. That's the most important thing, I think, on this journey to have, because you've got to have people that are making those good decisions around you, or you're not going to make those good decisions.
Yeah, I heard a story. It might have came from you, Gray, since you're the only person I ever talked to about this. Chances are it is you. Um,
Definitely.
it is you. Uh, where there was absolutely bitterness and frustration in the home after a woman wanted to start a nutrition and exercise program. The husband was actually bitter and upset she wanted
It
to make
happens
those
all the
changes.
time.
Yeah.
Happens all the time. I've dealt with that
Yeah.
my entire career, of one party, normally the husband, not being happy that the wife is starting to make changes because it's like, oh, you're going to take the fun out of everything. What? Okay. What do you
Yeah.
mean? So I just think it's really important. And, women especially, because women need community. Women really need community. So find a community of exercise that you like. I don't give a shit if it's Zumba. Go to Zumba. Find fun there.
Yeah. Meet like Allison said, meet them where they're at. So
Mhm.
big take home number one, find some sort of movement. What does that look like for you? Right. So if you're
Mhm.
listening at home and you're like, I got to do something, um, find out where your level of commitment is. Do you want to go for a walk daily? Do you want to bring a friend for a walk? Do you want to go to a friend's fitness class? I don't care if it's yoga,
Mhm.
Pilates, weightlifting, whatever class. I wouldn't suggest right off the rip hitting your buddy up for a CrossFit class, right?
Why
But
not?
you know what I'm saying, right? Um, and they can always smart CrossFit boxes scale to your level, right?
Yeah.
But some sort of movement is number one. So like if you're listening to this podcast and you could turn it off right now, right? You could completely turn it off and be like, all right, I'm going for a 30-minute walk every day. I'm adding that in
Mhm.
my schedule. I'm putting that in. I'm walking the dog. I'm pushing. I'm a mom and I got a 1 year old at home. I could push the stroller for 30 minutes around the neighborhood. I can go for a walk. There's a track near me at a park. I can walk a track, make 4 laps on the track and walk home.
Mhm.
Or I got a friend that goes to a class. It's low impact, easy to start. I'm going to that. I'm going 1 day a week to start and walk in. Um, that's our starting point, right? Exercise. You say that because well, and that makes sense to me. My first intake was to go towards nutrition, but like you said, it's easy to start something that's 30 minutes a day or an hour and a half a week or 2 hours a week total than do something because nutrition is 24 hours a day.
Nutrition, it's complicated. Exercise is not complicated. Is exercise hard? Yes, but it's not complicated. Nutrition is complicated.
I had a client that worked from home and we started with a 10-minute walk after every meal.
That's what I'm saying. And
Breakfast, 10-minute walk, lunch, 10-minute walk. Um,
you grow with that. Like that's exactly how my story went of getting back into exercise. Like I was an athlete my whole life, but then went to college and said fuck exercising for 4 years. But then that's exactly how I started back. It's like it was walking and then it was running. And then I got into weightlifting. And then I've slowly built on that and I do everything now.
yeah,
There's the only thing I haven't tried is Pilates.
I did a Pilates class on a reformer a couple times. It was brutal.
I know. I've heard.
It's absolutely hard. Yeah, it's absolutely
Yeah.
hard. My exercise store like right now, Mike, we hopefully will have Mike on again. And he's like, man, you got to do more zone 2, like sauna, zone 2 cardio for 30 minutes a
I
day.
love zone two.
And see, I'm hard and things that address like the vagal nerve suppression, like
Yeah,
chill out. I just have no chill. There's
I
nothing in
know.
me that's
Well,
chill.
that's what I was gonna say.
My
Zone
like
two
you
is
said, yeah,
boring.
but yeah, and I was talking to a jujitsu buddy that owns a jujitsu school, Tillman, black belt, super in shape, phenomenal at jujitsu. And me and him were talking yesterday about like hitting zone 2, and his zone 2 is like 30 minutes at 135 beats per minute.
Mhm.
And I'm like, bro, I was like, that's so boring. Like,
It is.
that's
You got to find something that you like to either read or watch and just go and do it. I used to literally watch old rugby reruns of games and get on
really.
the on like an elliptical and go. Yeah.
Are you following on social that rugby girl is popular right now?
Yeah.
Alana.
Yeah.
Dude, she's like 5'10", 200. She's the same size I am.
I know. I know.
And
I love
she's like
it.
a beautiful woman, and I love her
She's a
story.
unit.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love it too. I think she's
She,
great.
yeah. One of the things she said that I've had a conversation with people before. She built confidence in her body when she started to realize her body had utility in sports. She's like,
She's
oh,
incredible.
I can run people over.
Hmm.
I can mash your face into the ground. I can run
Hmm.
you through and score touchdown or whatever they call it, right? Tries. They don't try.
Try. Yeah.
Whatever, right? And I'm just, yeah, I follow her. I don't follow it because of rugby, but like, yeah, zone 2 for me and vagal nerve and like chill out. Like we've talked before, like uh when we had somebody on here before, they're like, unclench your butt cheeks. Dude, I
Hmm.
find myself sitting in the evening watching TV,
Clench
chilling, clench, and I'm like, wow, I have no
in the
chill.
shower.
Yeah,
I'm
my
doing it in the
vagal
shower.
nerve is like I'm on like flit, and that's why I've always here's what I used to think I was an adrenaline junkie, where I used to say like I don't like I can get pretty chill. It's like I can't go cardio unless it's combating and fighting another person.
That's what I'm saying. And I'm a lot of the time the same way. So I have to
Lifting
force
for me,
myself.
is
Same.
mm, right?
Clenched.
Yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
like I'm doing something during the day, I'm just like right. I need to really work on getting into that vagal tone, chill out mode. That's my
Hmm.
challenge. That's my exercise challenge. So if you're out there and listening, okay, let's go to nutrition, right? Nutrition is the hardest one, right? Number two, if you're listening to this, if you didn't turn this off and just start going for a walk or find a place, um, nutrition. This is a big meet people where they're at,
Yeah.
right? Meet
100%.
people where
Dependent.
they're
It
at.
totally depends on the person of what they need.
And I'm writing these things down, right? Nutrition. Somebody comes to you and they're like, all right, what do I do about nutrition?
Hmm.
We have to start the conversation of like, well, what are you doing now? They're like,
Yeah.
nothing. All right, well,
Yeah.
what are your habits like? Like, write out to me. I like to get a food log,
Yep. And the intake form. Yep.
an intake form. Yep, and our
Yep.
intake form, you get a food log, you get a 3-day food log, and I get a good look at what you're doing daily.
Hmm.
And then I just try to make 1 or 2 changes to that,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Um, if somebody's listening to this and they're like, listen, sometimes I eat breakfast, sometimes I don't. Grab something on the way. Lunch is sometimes like vending machine or fast foodish, or I don't I hate cooking, so I don't do it. And dinners, whatever I have around the house if I'm hungry.
Hmm.
Don't you think that kind of describes the standard American diet? Like
Yeah.
it's coffee and a bagel in the morning,
Yeah.
or I mean, what lunch is just kind of like, whatever they have at the office,
Hmm.
or grab something for takeout, and then at home I just eat what's around the house. I go to the grocery store or something. I'm not really conscious about it. I'm hungry, I eat. I'm not hungry anymore. That's the goal.
Yeah.
I believe that's kind of the standard American diet, right? If that's me, tell me where I'm starting.
I think, well, again, it kind of depends. It's one of those things that the first two things I always encourage for somebody are more protein and more fruits and vegetables.
Okay.
That's where I start
Do you have an order in
typically
that?
of what would deem more important.
Like if somebody said, hey, I can do one thing, are you starting with protein or are you starting with fruits and vegetables?
Probably fruits and vegetables.
Okay.
Reason being, we'll do protein at the same time. Fruits and vegetables are less complicated.
Most people know what a fruit is. Most people know what a vegetable is.
Yep. Yep.
Right.
And most people will feel a lot better when they get more fruits and vegetables in.
Digestion.
But
Not only that, most people when they eat fruits and vegetables, they're not eating the other junk, right?
correct.
My kid, we eat he's on a grapes and carrots thing.
Yeah, love
Grapes,
grapes and carrots.
grapes and carrots,
I
whatever.
got them right now too.
Grapes and carrots. You and
Yep.
my kid. You and my kid.
Yep.
Green beans, like sometimes we do green beans, but we're in a grapes and
Yep.
carrots thing. We do fresh grapes and carrots. At dinner, when he eats, he gets a serving of grapes and a serving of carrots, and we eat that first.
Hmm.
And then as he's eating it, he lets me know what he wants his main side dish to be. And sometimes I don't care what it is. Like
Yeah.
sometimes it's chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
We get these organic chicken nuggets. Sometimes it's like little pizzas that he likes,
Hmm.
right? Um, their kids are kids, right? Sometimes there are other things he likes, right?
Yeah.
But we eat the carrots, we eat the fruits, and then we decide our main dish after, right? It's
Hmm.
not in the reverse order. Um, as I'm sitting here talking about doing that with my kid, I'm starting to think that why don't we have that take with
I
clients?
do.
You do,
I
yeah, you
do.
do,
Yeah.
right? Like grab a fruit,
Simplify
grab a
it.
vegetable, eat that first, and then choose your dish.
Yeah, I have a lot of clients plan their meals around the fruit or the vegetable. So like if somebody is struggling with whole foods, I say to them, all right, well, what kind of vegetables do you like for dinner? Say they are like, all right, I really like, I don't know, green beans and corn. I'm like, all right, well, what goes good with that? And they're like, maybe a steak. Cool. All right, cool. You just made a
Yeah,
meal. You just
yeah.
made a meal. That's perfect.
I get people that I'm like, all right, fruits and vegetables, and they think right off the rip, they're like, I got to go buy a bunch of fresh berries. I got to go buy
Mhm.
I got to go buy a bunch of stuff in the fridge like strawberries. It's gonna go bad in a day. And I'm like, no, man, that's apples, bananas, frozen bags of mixed fruit,
Yeah.
right?
I normally like if a client needs help with that kind of stuff, I have them buy between like 4 and 6 fruits and vegetables for the whole week. And it's normally like 2 fruits and closer to like 4 vegetables because
So how
veggies
are
don't
they?
go
How do you get
bad.
it? Are you having them literally buy fresh vegetables at the store, like whole carrots, whole
Hmm.
zucchini?
Hmm. And I'm like, what can you make? Like, let's think about it. What can you make for the whole week that has that? Because for a lot of people, they're not going to change their intake every single day. Like, I like to think of it more in a week span. I'm like, you can eat the same thing for a week, just change it next week, you know?
Mhm.
But also realize that, say I always have bell peppers. Bell peppers are one of my favorites. Say I have bell peppers, lettuce, corn in my fridge. That's what I have for the week. I know that I can make a salad with those. I can do some kind of Mexican bowl. I could have them on their own and do like them on the side with some kind of other protein. So it's the same ingredients as far as vegetables. It's different maybe with your protein and maybe the way that you fix it.
Mhm.
And I find that that's the easiest for people because it keeps their shopping list simple, but then it gives them a different array of foods, like an array of recipes, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Hmm.
You look like you're drinking pee.
It's flavored water with with uh liquid IV. I do one
Yeah.
liquid IV a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, my sodium intake's pretty high. I sweat a
Same.
lot. I'm a sweater.
Yeah. Same.
Um,
But yeah, just the is for nutrition, don't overcomplicate it because it is complicated. So try your best not to overcomplicate it or it will feel endlessly
this is where
complicated.
I start with fruits and vegetables. Okay. Bananas are easy.
Bananas are super easy. Problem
Apples,
is a lot of people don't like them.
yes, apples are easy.
Hmm.
Grapes are easy
Yep.
at the store, right?
Longer shelf life. Yeah, these all
Longer
have
shelf
longer
life. You
shelf
can get in
life.
the beginning of the week. You can wait and eat them through the week,
Hmm.
and you're good. You have one with lunch, one with dinner.
Yeah. Well,
I
I
do,
think
I do bags of frozen fruit, man.
that's perfect too.
I have people buy, and it's not perfect, still a little processed, but like, listen, it's not tater tots, right?
Right.
So every grocery store has a frozen food section where for $35 you can get a pound of grapes. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like and I say I'm making fun. It's just expensive. The bags are expensive, but they
Yeah.
last you all week, right?
Right.
You can get mixed berries frozen. You can put them in anything you want. You can eat them,
Hmm.
warm them up, eat them, put a little granola on it. I said, or you can do a single fruit at every
Hmm.
meal, or a
Hmm.
bag of frozen vegetable or uh, frozen fruit. I have a
Hmm.
similar concept with that with vegetables, right?
Yeah.
I say
Yeah.
pick one or two vegetables that you can eat at the house. It's usually like they'll do like fresh broccoli
Hmm.
or and outside of that, I have a lot of people who have no clue. They're getting bags of frozen of mixed vegetables in a bag,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
They're microwaving it
Fine.
and they're eating half of it on one day, half of it on the other. They're going through three
Fine.
bags a week,
Yep.
right?
But that's the whole thing is like people overbuy. I'm like, you don't need 8 fruits and 8 vegetables.
Hmm.
Pick two, pick 2 fruits, pick 4 vegetables.
Hmm.
You'll eat that for the week.
I find people are amazed. I'm like, take your bag of frozen vegetables to the office. You have a microwave. It's 6 minutes.
It's easy.
Eat half, put it in the fridge, warm up the second half the next day, and it's not
Yep.
hard. You can get a wide array of frozen vegetables. A majority
Mhm.
of my vegetables are frozen. I do eat 1 to 2 bags of raw broccoli a week.
Mhm. I was
Um,
about to say a day, damn.
no, yeah, oh my stomach, bro. Broccoli sits in there like a scrub and just
Mhm.
cycles through. Um,
Mhm.
I do fresh broccoli, fresh
Mhm.
carrots. And one of my favorite things, I put like raspberry balsamic vinaigrette on it and
Mhm.
eat it
Mhm.
during the day. Um, those are strategies for yeah, people be like, here's my recipe, here's my grocery list for the day,
It's
for the
too
week. And I'm
much.
like,
Yeah.
whoa, like holy cow, you got 8 vegetables on there, 8 fruits on there.
Yeah.
Like
You
oh,
don't need
I'm
a
only shopping the aisles, I'm gonna cook everything. No, you're not. You're not gonna cook it. You're gonna get sick and tired of this in a week.
right,
Right.
right. So simplify your shopping list. Buy just a couple things and think of recipes that you can eat. Like I always tell people again, eat the same thing for a week for breakfast. Like if your thing this week is yogurt with bananas in it, perfect. That's one fruit that you've got in your day. Then think of a few other recipes that you can make with the same four vegetables. It's really easy.
One of my snacks is the Pro yogurt. It's Oikos Pro. You better bust that out right now. Oikos, you're the bomb. See, look at that. We didn't even plan that, ladies and
I
gentlemen.
know.
Right?
20 grams of
And
protein.
the cup is 20 grams, but the servings is 23.
Hmm.
I put 1 serving of high protein granola in it
Hmm.
and the fresh frozen fruit.
Exactly.
And it's like 30 grams of carbs and like 38 grams of protein.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I'm like, that's pretty good. Like that's pretty
Hmm.
awesome. All right, the
Exactly.
next one is protein. Protein is one that I think people like. And I know I think I know what you're going to share right off the rip. But if I'm coming to you and I'm like, I gotta get 80 to 100 grams. 100 grams is kind of my marker with women, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Get
The
100
minimum.
unless you're
Mhm.
really really small girl,
Which
right?
rare. Yeah.
Which rare, right?
Yeah.
Genetically, you're just a teeny little thing. Um, 100 grams of protein is like my marker for girls. 150 is like my
Same.
marker for boys, right?
Hmm.
For dudes. And a female comes to you and be like, whole, and I've had people say, 100 grams of, holy cow.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, you just got to Matthew McConaughey that up, man. Like
Yes.
ramp those numbers up.
Hmm.
Like you got to load up. Erica, who lost 150, 60 pounds, that was on our podcast. She's like, no, you got to crank those numbers up. You got to add food to it. Right?
Hmm.
Did I send you that meme of that girl's like, what my clients think when I'm telling them, add more kind of cheese, add more
No.
cheese, more fruit, She's like, is like what my clients say when I tell them to add that protein up. It's like
Yes.
and I'm like, holy cow, that's me. Add cottage cheese, add
Hmm.
liquid egg
Add
white,
bone broth.
add
Yeah.
bone broth, add
Yeah.
Greek yogurt, like 3 ounces of chicken is not a serving. Crank that number up to 5. Like all you're doing is
Yep.
making more of what you're currently making. That's all
Yeah.
you got to do is make more of what you're currently making, right? Um, what are your protein tricks? If people are coming to you, they're like, I got to hit 100 grams.
Yeah. Protein to me is more strategic. This is why I don't always start with it because it is more strategic. So if
We're
I
not
do
used to
start,
eating high protein, right? Most people are
right.
not used. I think people would be blown away if they took a food log and looked at how much protein they eat in the day. They'd be like,
Oh,
50,
for a lot
60
of
grams.
clients, yeah, for a lot of clients, when they send me their intake form back, I will actually go into my fitness pal and track to the best of my ability what they've given me. And I'll be like, you've got 75 grams of protein right here. That's pretty normal. Pretty standard for me is seeing about 70 to 80 grams of protein per day. Not enough. So my first thing is we got to get more protein in at breakfast.
What do you
A
take
lot
in
of
a day?
people, my protein amount, I try to get between like 130 and 155.
What do you weigh right now? We can talk
One,
about this.
what my last weigh was 149.
I mean, I saw you yesterday. You got like the muscle body going, right? You got the
Thanks.
muscle body going,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um, so 140, 130 to 150. Yeah.
Yeah. Just about. But
Pretty
protein,
easy for
high
you.
protein for breakfast.
Pretty
Yeah.
easy for you. Pretty easy.
But I've been doing it for 5 years.
Okay.
So yeah. But high protein breakfast is where I normally start because most people aren't eating any kind of protein for breakfast.
How much is your protein in the morning? first meal?
Between 30 and 40 typically,
No.
but I normally eat two breakfasts. So
Yeah,
like,
you do. So you do. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah, I've heard you say that.
because I
So
just get up so early. So I need two breakfasts really.
what's your tips, your protein tips? If I'm that person, I'm coming to you like, I don't even pay attention to it.
This is literally the easiest thing that you can do
20
because
grams.
it's not filling. This one or ratio or Siggy's or anything, Chobani's fine. It's not filling. Like it's enough. If you're somebody that's like, oh, I'm not really a breakfast person because I'm not hungry in the morning, just get a cup of yogurt. Start training yourself to eat that cup of yogurt because it's 20 grams of protein right off the rip. And if you can start with 20 versus, some people are getting like 5 or less, perfect. We'll start with 20. That's great.
Fine.
We can
It's
add
not five.
beyond
It's better
that.
than five. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's better
Right.
than a bagel out the door.
Correct, correct. But I do have a lot of clients actually transition to having two breakfasts because I do have a lot of clients that get up around the same time that I do, which is about 6 in the morning. Eat your breakfast within an hour of waking up. If you are a morning workout person, you can eat your second breakfast after you work out, or you can kind of phase your second breakfast as like your morning snack. And I want something protein dense there as well. So it kind of depends on what your day looks like. If you got more time in the morning to cook a breakfast, cook that breakfast first, have something like yogurt later. If you're in a pinch in the morning, maybe you eat your yogurt first and then you have a bigger breakfast later, whatever that might look like for you.
You let me down. I thought we were going to lead with protein coffee.
Protein coffee is a great one.
Tell me,
It's
tell
a
the
great
people.
one.
Yeah.
We can
Everybody does
totally do
coffee.
protein coffee.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. If you're a coffee person and you don't mind having stuff mixed into your coffee, mix some protein in there or drink a protein shake with it because that is like killing two birds with one stone. You can get a little caffeine inside of your protein. It's
Big,
easy.
big, protein smoothie. Did you
Protein
ever do
smoothie,
that?
but be strategic where you add your protein. So like if you're somebody that likes eggs, add cottage cheese or egg whites to your eggs because you're going to double the protein amount. So if you're only having two eggs, if you add a serving of cottage cheese, or I think it's a half cup of liquid egg whites, you're going to double the protein amount. You're going to take it from 13 to 26.
I have a male client, mid 50s, 250 pounds, higher blood sugar. Doctors trying to do something. We're trying to change his diet a little bit. And when we first started, I was like, all right, add protein. He's like, I did add protein. Hey, I added protein. I had an egg and a bagel and peanut butter. One egg.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, nah, like that ain't doing it. Like,
Yep.
egg. I mean, you just got 13 grams of protein there, buddy. Like you're a
Mm-hmm.
250-pound guy. All right. Like
Right.
crank that up. Right. Crank it up. Right. I'm 220 to 230 grams a
Mm-hmm.
day.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty easy. 60 grams first thing in the morning.
Yep.
Um, big lunch is usually like 50, 60 grams.
Yeah.
I
But
try
that's the
to,
thing too with your meat servings. They don't need to be that 3 ounce size. They need to be like 5 or 6.
yeah,
To get more
yeah.
protein. And you just have to be strategic too, like with your snacking and how you cook everything. Like I love grains for every meal, pretty much. Like for your can you still hear me?
Hmm.
I think my headphone, oh no, just one died. Um, for your grains, cook your grains in bone broth. It doubles the protein amount. So I
I'll
normally
put
have
this out
rice.
too. I'll put this out
Yeah.
too. We did a high protein breakfast free
Mm-hmm.
PDF,
Mm-hmm.
and then I did a high protein like 10. I think I did 10 or 20 high protein meals for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, all between 30 and 50 grams of high
Yeah.
protein for
Yeah.
people. And a lot of people got that. It was free. We gave it away because I feel like protein is the hardest
It's just
thing.
complicated. Yeah.
And
But
because I've had 250-pound men be like, "Oh my gosh, 100 is a lot." And
I know, like in my
I'm like,
sleep.
and like, what?
In my
100's a
sleep.
lot. Like, what are
I
you
love
doing?
protein.
Yeah,
But
what are you
again, like
doing?
I have an easy protein list that I supply for clients, and the things on there are yogurt, protein powder, edamame. Love edamame. I think that's a great one. Bone broth, beef jerky. Just make sure you're getting like the minimal ingredient beef jerky. I think that's a really
Uh,
easy one too for a lot of people. But mixing protein powder inside of stuff that you already like. If you're somebody that likes pancakes, you can make high protein powder pancakes.
oh, well, yeah, that used to be one of my
You know,
things. That used to
same.
be one of my
Used to do
things.
it too.
Yeah, made my
Yep.
home in a
Yep.
blender.
Yeah, I always get made like my friends always make fun of me because my breakfasts are so random a lot of the time because I'm
Mhm.
just like I'm thinking about protein. So the other morning I sent a picture of my breakfast in our Snapchat group and it was like I had some green beans I needed to get rid of. So I was like green beans
For
and then I
breakfast.
had
Yeah,
eggs with
yeah,
shishito peppers and green onions and my friends were like that's so weird.
yeah.
I was like did the job. Did
No,
the
I've
job.
I've sent you and Mike like combos of my food intake
Yeah,
before.
yours is
Yeah,
just
and it's like chicken, cottage cheese, fresh fruit on the side, uh,
well, I think,
pretzels.
yeah,
Yeah.
when you get into a sense of 80 to 90% of the time your food has a purpose versus a feeling, you're going to eat that way. I'm just going
Oh,
to do what
100%.
needs to be done. You know, I
Yeah.
still like to enjoy my food. I still like to cook really well. We eat really well. But a lot of the time it's like what I got to eat just to get to my numbers.
Hmm.
You know, I don't really care
Yeah.
that much.
I'm the same way.
And
I
then
don't.
occasionally I'm like, I want food to be fun. You know, like we
Yeah.
went and got sushi last night.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Sushi's my fun food.
Same.
Sushi's 100% my fun food. In a kaya down
Yep.
here. I think it was in Kaya.
Oh, I
Um,
love Inakaya.
yeah, it's I can do a plate of a big bowl of rice
Hmm.
and just a big bowl of sashimi
Hmm.
and
Yeah,
just slurp
exactly.
it down with rice and get a roll on the side and be like, that's fun.
I ate enough dinner last night to feed probably like 3 people.
What was it? Where'd you
It
go?
was
Where'd you go
great.
somewhere? Did you home?
We went to Tsunami. It was
Yeah,
Austin's birthday.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's fine.
yeah,
But I did eat a lot.
yeah.
But yeah. But that's what I would
Okay.
say as far as nutrition and like taking the complicated idea of nutrition and simplifying it just a little bit is putting a fruit or vegetable in every meal about fist size. So we want about 4 fist size every day at the minimum. And then same for protein. If you can have about 4 to 5 fist size, maybe the size of your palm through the day, that's a great way to start if you're not tracking your food. But just have that idea in your mind and don't overcomplicate it with the fist size thing either. Like this is about the same size as my fist, right? So
Yeah.
that's a serving of protein. A banana, half of it is about the same size as my fist. Don't overcomplicate it, you know, with, oh, it doesn't fit exactly. I'm like, obviously it's not going to fit exactly.
Yeah, not only
Use your
that,
brain.
eat it first. Like we talked about my kid,
Yeah,
eat the fruits and vegetables and the protein first. If you want
I
something
do.
else
I do
after
every
that,
time.
if you
Yep.
want something after that, eat it. But you know what? 90% of times people are like, "Oh, I'm full. I don't want it."
Yep. Exactly. I do that every time.
Where you get into trouble with that is what Erica talked about is for so many people their food is their joy.
Hmm.
And if they ate yogurt, fresh fruit, and some vegetables, they weren't hungry, and so they didn't want the pizza. And
Hmm.
then they didn't enjoy they weren't able to have the joy of eating that pizza. So they're like, I'm not that happy because I couldn't eat the pizza. That's a whole
Yeah.
different subject.
But that takes time too. You know, we all come from that mindset that food is joy. And then over time, you're going to move into a mindset where food is purpose,
Hmm.
right? It has a purpose. And then I reserve my food is joy for times when I want to go out to eat. We go out to eat
Hmm.
like once or twice a week, and that is when food is my joy. I
Hmm.
don't always order super on track. I am a really healthy eater, so normally it's on track, but food is still joy then,
I just
you
don't
know?
like the way bad food makes you feel.
I
Like
don't
it's,
either. I don't
yeah,
either. That's why it's not worth it.
like
But that's
if
the funny thing too, is over time, clients will be like, oh, I ate bad this week and I feel like shit. So I really don't want to do that anymore. I'm like,
yeah.
that's the
I,
beauty.
IHOP's got the all you can eat pancakes right now, and I'm just like, dude, I could go there and smash through 30 pancakes in 20 minutes. Dude, you know
And
what I
feel
feel? I'd
awful.
feel horrible,
Your
right?
whole day would be done.
Yeah, I would feel miserable.
Yeah.
Okay, we got exercise, we got sleep. Can we finish with, or we got exercise, we got nutrition.
Yeah.
Can we finish with sleep?
Yeah.
Right? Trendy. Is sleep trendy?
Yeah, but it should be.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I'll tell you what, I bet if we talked about this, I bet Mike Wines would have sleep first.
Probably, yes.
Yeah.
But in a sense of building we always say that sleep is most important, but in a sense of actually building the habit, sleep is another thing that's a little bit complicated and it takes a lot of sacrifice. Whereas, again, in my opinion, exercise takes the least amount of sacrifice.
Stress and sleep.
They
Sleep,
tie into one.
stress, right? They tie into
They
one.
take time too. Those things just take time. I think building an exercise routine doesn't really take this much time. Building a nutrition and a sleep routine takes a lot of time. 100%. It took me years, you know, seriously
Mhm.
years. But
That's still my hardest one. Sleep is still
same.
my
I
hardest
still
one.
struggle with it. I absolutely still struggle with it. I still struggle with the mindset of last night, for example, I went to bed a lot later than I normally do, and I still got up at 6:30 because I was like, oh, I got to get my workout in. I
Hmm.
probably should have slept, you
Hmm.
know, but I wanted to get my workout in. It's still something
Yeah.
it's a daily struggle for me too. Especially when we have stuff going on, you know, when we're up a little bit later, but it's something that you continuously work on. And I think, again, if you can go into it with a mindset of, I don't need to overcomplicate this, I don't need to be perfect at it, I just have to try my best, that's where it's going to pay off. But I do know when I'm eating right and I'm exercising well, I'm more likely to sleep really well.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. You want to sleep better and you got too much energy, go work out really hard one point in
Yeah.
the day and
See ya.
it'll change, right? Yeah, most people don't sleep well because they just don't do anything all day,
Yeah, that and they're addicted
right?
to this.
The phones. Okay, so let's get to that.
Yeah.
If I'm that new person, I'm like, great, I know I need to sleep better. I mean, the number of people that say, "Oh, I just have insomnia," that don't have insomnia, it's kind of like the
Yeah.
hormones, right? Oh, I
Yeah.
can't lose weight because of my hormones. Oh, I just have insomnia. No, you got shitty sleeping habits.
Yeah.
You got what Mike calls it sleep hygiene. You have crappy sleep hygiene. You don't have insomnia.
Yeah.
You don't
I,
have insomnia, right?
no,
You
no,
have
you've
bad sleep habits.
exactly.
Yeah.
The three biggest things that changed my sleep were putting my phone on do not disturb. Like my phone goes on do not disturb about an hour before I go to bed. And the only people that can text me are like the people that need me, right? Like
Mhm.
my immediate people. And they normally don't bother me. So my phone goes on do not disturb about an hour before I go to bed. I try to leave my phone on the nightstand and not check it unless I like absolutely have to. So that was a huge one. I get a lot of sunlight every day. That's a huge one for me too, is making sure I get outside a lot. And I read before bed. Those are typically what changes my sleep the most.
What
Is I
about
can get
do you try to go to bed at the same time typically? Most
I
normal.
do normally, but my schedule is a little sporadic just with teaching. So if I can ideally be asleep between 10 and 10:30, I will wake up between 6 and 6:30 naturally.
Do you sleep
Uh,
consistently through the night? Like once you're
mhm.
asleep and you wake up, you
Yeah,
wake up.
I rarely wake up.
Mm,
The only night that I mean, the weekends are a little bit different, but the only night I really struggle with is Tuesday night because I'm in bed at 7:30 because I have to be up at 3:45 or 4. And
mhm,
I normally do wake up like once or twice on those nights because it's in
mhm,
my head like, oh, I don't want to miss my really early alarm. And I'm the first one
mhm,
at the studio, so I got to make sure it's open. And,
mhm.
so
My
yeah, that
number
one's
one, the biggest movers for me for sleep are probably the consistency. Even on the weekends, I go to bed same time, get
weekends
up
are
same
hard
time.
for me. Yeah.
I just have that lifestyle that I can go to. I just what
Yeah.
go to bed and get up same time, typically
Hmm.
within 15-30 minutes every day.
Yep.
Um, uh, electronics off an hour
Yep.
before.
Yep.
I have a night routine where like I have things I like to do before I go to bed, so I have a nightly routine. Electronics off. Um, I'm struggling with the cool room. We were talking about that earlier because
Yeah.
I don't like the cool room. But mine has been routine.
Yeah.
Turning the electronics off. Um, Getting the computer off my lap. I used to sit with the computer off my lap. Um, so many people go to bed and stare at their phone in bed. That's horrible.
Oh,
Right.
so bad. So bad.
Right.
If you're somebody that like works later in the day, I can't recommend enough having blue light blocking glasses. It's not going to be the same effect as obviously turning your screen off, but it really helps my eyes. And I typically wear them the whole day, and you can get them just on whatever website, but I love my blue light blocking glasses. I notice a huge difference when I wear them.
A lot of people turn the TV on in their room.
Uh,
Oh, is that
That
him?
boy.
Is that
Oh
him?
my
Him? Is
God.
that him?
Yeah. And I'll normally read just next to him, and he does turn it off before he goes to bed normally. But a lot of people do. They're like, I have to have the TV on to fall asleep. I'm like, that's worse for you, right?
White noise. I do white noise. I
It's
do a fan. Do you do a fan?
it's a noise thing. Yes, we do the
Yeah, I
fan,
do the
but it
fan.
is a noise thing. It's a lot of people don't like silence in the room when they go to bed. So I'm just like,
Mhm.
okay, find something to listen to. There's amazing um things on Spotify. Like there's ocean sounds and rain sounds. And there's this podcast I used to listen to when I lived alone called Sleep Cove. And it's this guy that has like a very hypnotic voice. I'd be asleep in 3 minutes.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
It's not the TV,
Sleep's
it's the
hard.
noise.
Sleep's hard because people, man, they do just some night. I mean, I was talking
Mhm.
to a group of kids about sleep, and they're like, Josh, like, I want to go to bed at like 9:30 or 10, and then like I'll start doing stuff on my phone or in my room, and all of a sudden it's midnight.
Mhm.
We do a lot of mindless stuff,
Mhm.
right, at night because I don't know. And a lot of people will say like, "Well, I just have energy at night." Well, it's because you don't do anything during the day. You know,
Mhm.
and exercise, you have energy at night, and you sleep until 9 or 10. Like I
Same
tell
thing.
you,
Yeah.
one of the best ways to go to bed at night more efficiently is to get up earlier in the day.
Yep.
How are you on those days you get up at like 4?
At first they kicked my ass,
Yeah.
but I'm fine now. I'm
But
totally
that
fine
night,
now.
like if you get up at 4 that night, are you just like I'm smoked? I'm in bed.
Um, Sometimes it just depends, truly. It really does. Like when I was there on Wednesday in Columbia, I was totally fine. Sarah and I went to bed that night at like 9:30. I was fine.
Mhm,
But I've gotten into a better routine of it. I've been sleeping better on those Tuesday nights.
mhm,
So it's been fine. I also haven't been smashing as much caffeine before I teach, which has been really helpful. I
mhm.
was like drinking a lot of caffeine before I'd go in and teach at 5 a.m. and I would crash so hard. because of that. Now I just have like a half a cup of coffee. And if I do need any more caffeine, I'll have it at like 10.
Yeah, I'll say that's been and I didn't mention it before, so I didn't think about it until you said it. I would say a prime mover for me is I only do caffeine first thing in the morning now.
Yep.
About 180 grams of is it 180 grams of caffeine.
Milligrams,
Yeah,
milligrams.
180 milligrams of caffeine first
Hmm.
thing in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning.
Hmm.
Um, and I stopped doing anything after that. That was kind of
Yep.
Mike's thing to start to work on like my HRV and my resting heart rate and my
Yep.
recovery. Mike was
Yep.
like, Michael, and sometimes it's amazing. I come up with the idea. It's harder to stick to it. When somebody I really trust and respect comes up with the idea, I stick to it. I don't
Hmm.
stick to it when it's my idea. So Mike's like, bro, you got to cut your caffeine in half because I kind of showed him what I do during the day. He's like, nah, bro, you got to cut your caffeine in
I
half and
know.
just understand that like you're going to go through a couple days where you're tired, but your sleep is going to be better and it'll rate your circadian rhythms will regulate you feel better during the day.
Yep.
Middle of the day too. I don't, a lot of people nap. I don't need a nap. I need a shut off period. I
Yep.
can like fall asleep for 30 minutes with my eyes open in an
Yep.
environment like if I come home for lunch. If I just sit down for 30 minutes, just be like,
Hmm.
and all of a
My
sudden 30 minutes
client and
later, I'm like,
I
good. Yeah.
just had a conversation before we got on to record this about, she was like, is it okay if I nap? And I was like, yes, it's totally fine if you
Mhm.
nap. But like, I like to schedule, I have a down period. I do it
Me
every
too.
day.
Me
It
too.
changes at the time every day, but I have a down period for an hour where I don't touch my, I try not to touch my phone.
Hmm.
If I really need something mindless and I have to scroll TikTok, sometimes I have to do that. But it's normally I read. I'll sit there and read and I might shut my eyes for like 20 minutes, but I have to have a
Yeah.
down period.
I just
Hmm.
zone out. I just go like, "Mrr," like I just
Yes.
kind of like, have you ever seen Big Hero 6?
Yep.
Where
No,
he's like,
but yeah.
it's a, I got an 8-year-old, right? So we watch, as the day goes, he just kind of like goes, "Hmm."
Hmm.
And I need to do that for like 30 minutes where I'm like, "Nah,"
You
and
do. You
I'm
need
like,
it.
boop, and I'm back. And I'm
Yep.
like, oh, I'm here. We're live. We're back.
Really good for you. Even if
Yeah.
it's 20 minutes to just take a moment, you
Hmm.
know, I tell a lot of clients, I'm like, if that's a walk, I want you to unplug while you're on that walk, you know,
Mm.
don't
Yeah.
listen to anything.
Yeah. Allison talked about that. Hear the
Mhm.
birds, feel the sun,
Yes. Connect with
right? Connect
nature.
with
Mhm.
nature, walk bare feet.
Yes.
I do a sport that includes lots of bare feet, and I
Oh, it's
feel
so
good.
good for you.
I'll tell you that, and it might be mind over matter, like my brain. I've got a physical therapist I work with, and I tell him, hey, when I'm in shoes, I feel like I'm not as mobile and
You're not.
flexible as I am when my feet hit like a jujitsu mat. I move. I immediately move different when my feet connect to the ground.
Well, that
My
is why.
mobility is different. My flexibility is different. My motion is different. My feet hit the ground, bare feet, and all of a sudden I'm just like, "Whoa," move, can roll. And shoes, horrible.
That's
I
why.
feel like I'm locked from the earth.
Yes. Well, that's why I like when we have the conversation of, what should your exercise routine look like? I'm like, there is space for stuff like jujitsu and yoga and Pilates because you
Hmm.
are barefooted. You should be barefooted. It's very like that is our natural state to be barefooted.
Yeah,
You should be connecting with
I'm
your
on board
barefoot
with that.
ability.
I'm on board, man. I'm really on board with feet health.
Same.
Something about
Every
feet
day in the
health for
shower,
me. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
stretch my toes.
I bought a pair of Zero XERO shoes. They're
Hmm.
wide toe box, bare
Yeah.
feet.
Hmm.
Um, man, and even putting them on and walking, I'm like, man, this feels different. Bare feet feels different. Bare feet in the grass
I
feels
used to hike
different.
barefooted
D- Like where? Where'd you go?
out
Like
in
rocks and
Montana.
mountains and
Yeah.
you go out barefooted. Feet are
Hmm.
pretty resilient, right?
I don't have a lot of feeling in the bottom of my feet because of that.
Joe Rogan did a podcast with this dude that went out and lived with a tribe in Africa for like a year.
Hmm.
And he was a journalist, super smart guy, went out there and brought his camera and like did this whole documentary with this tribe. And like it took a long time for the tribe to trust him and get in because they're in it.
For sure.
He was talking about it. He's like, yeah, man, like after about a month, didn't miss my phone. After another month, didn't need shoes.
Yeah.
After 6 months, like I'd be running through the brush with them hunting, and my skin didn't get cuts from the brush.
That's what I
Like,
tell clients. I'm like,
like,
you need to think of yourself and your health as your most primal form. That's what we should be connecting with. Like, of course, it's going to be distractions. Absolutely. But if you want to feel your best, eat well, like something you've hunted,
mhm.
get outside, relax, sleep well, and move. That's what we're supposed to do. period.
Man, we're not meant to. If there's anything that's killed our health, it's technology and industry, I feel. Right. Technology and industry have killed our health. I mean, we've been
Yeah.
sitting here for an hour. I'm gonna stand up and be like, oh,
I
right,
know.
right. Like lengthening of the spine feels
I
great,
know.
right?
We'll have to do a walk and talk. We'll just have to
Yeah,
talk with our
we
podcast
absolutely
mics.
should. I mean, people make the jokes of like the African Bushmen squatting and their ankle movement or their babies in their primal movement. I don't know the research theory behind that, as if it's if you don't use it, you lose it type thing.
Yeah,
Um, but like being athletic and being able to move and bare feet,
that is the greatest thing that you can have.
yeah, I'm on board with that. I relate to that well.
Hmm.
Um, well, I feel good. I mean, we went over what we're gonna call it, something like starting next week. We'll
Yeah.
have a new I'll let you know. Um, episode 21. I hope if somebody listens to this and they're brand new, we're gonna title it so maybe it attracts brand new people who
Hmm.
get on here and they're like, man, how do I go about it? What do I do? What strategies do I have? And what's that even look like for me?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Because everybody, like, I think people get confused. They're like, they read on social media all the time. People, oh, 5 things to help you feel better: lift weights, eat fruits and vegetables, eat something protein, sleep better, connect with nature.
Hmm.
We know that, bro. Like, I don't need another fitfluencer with his shirt off doing one arm rows with a voiceover of him telling the 5 things that he needs to do, people should do
Right.
to get better. We know.
Yeah.
We just don't know. We
100%.
just don't know the strategies
The
and what it looks
strategy.
like behind it. The how.
Simplify
You
it.
know what? What's
Yeah.
the how? Like,
I
what's the
think
how? How do we do that?
the best thing that you can do for yourself is tackle 1 to 2 things at a time, because information overload is so real and habit overload is so real. Get really good at 1 or 2 things first
I
and
heard a coach.
practice that
I
for
heard a
like
coach.
5 or 6 weeks.
I heard a coach on a podcast say that the first week she has all her clients drink like 3 quarts of water or something,
Yeah. Yeah.
or like I feel like 100 ounces of water for the first week. And she's like, because if you can't do that, you're gonna have a hard time following anything else. So
Hmm.
literally, she'll do a consult with a client. They'll have a conversation. She'll say, 100 ounces of water. That's it. They're like, what? That's it? And
Hmm.
then they're like, 3 days. They're like, I can't do it. It's like, well, that's your first one,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? That's
Hmm.
uh, that's not a bad place to start with something.
It's not.
Tell
It's
somebody the
not.
only thing I want you to do today is for the first week is eat a fruit and a vegetable with every meal,
Yeah. Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
So, all right, girl, shutting it down. With all due respect, episode
21.
21.
With all due respect.